Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a thriller from Canada, English language, released in the year 2016, directed by Nathan Morlando, and this film is called Mean Dreams. So Mean Dreams is about this young teenage boy. He is working on this ranch, and it's a very repetitive lifestyle. It's a very lonely existence. He only has his parents to interact with, but one day that lonely existence is going to be disrupted when he comes across this girl. Now the girl says that she's moved in nearby, and that her father is the policeman of this community, and that her mother has actually passed away, so she's looking to move on with her life as well. So both of these teenagers quickly form this bond with each other, and they start to have feelings. So unfortunately for the boy, this girl's father is in fact a violent man. Now he's been sworn to protect the community, but unfortunately it's the girl who needs protecting from her father, because every time he gets drunk he starts to lash out. So he says to the boy, "You're never to see my daughter again, otherwise you're going to suffer consequences." But the boy can't help but do this, and so the father reacts in a very violent way towards the both of them that leads the boy to believe that this girl has to be saved. So one day when he's trying to come up with a plan, he comes across a dealing with this father outside of the law that involves a lot of money. So the boy steals some of the money and he takes off with this girl, and they're going to start a new life in another state. But unfortunately for them, the father realizes what's going on and he's in hot pursuit. So he's threatening a lot of violence, and whether or not these teenagers can escape that violence and create a new life for themselves is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Mean Dreams. I didn't know what to expect coming into this film. Now this is a movie that I initially didn't take any notice of. It didn't really capture me by the title. When I saw the trailer, I didn't really, get into it as much as I really needed to actually want to go out there and see it straight away. But when I realised that this is Bill Paxton's last performance, I definitely wanted to go out there and see it. Now Bill Paxton tragically was taken away from us way too young from a stroke, and it really devastated the overall movie community. So this is a guy that I really liked when I was younger. This is a guy that played very likable characters, and I really liked his presence on screen. And so when I knew that he was actually playing a different character in this movie, he is definitely of a negative type of character, I thought, okay, well, maybe this is a Bill Paxton that I haven't seen before. And after seeing the film, I will say that this is definitely Bill Paxton as you have never seen him. This is a terrifying character, and I thought that Bill Paxton played into absolute perfection because he was very subtle, and it demonstrates how good Bill Paxton was and how tragic it was that he couldn't create more characters like this, because he isn't the likable guy that you've seen so many times before. He almost kind of got into a standard sort of stereotype, but this movie really breaks free of all those stereotypes, and he creates something that really keeps the film going, and he makes the film as memorable as it is based on that performance alone. Now the rest of the film I have a little bit of a problem with, but I just thought the characters evolved, especially the villain and the teenagers in the movie. I thought they were absolutely fantastic, because the teenagers and this villain were completely different worlds, and these were two worlds clashing together. You got the naive, innocent world of first love up against the corruption of violence that this police officer was inflicting upon them. And it showed you a lot of the problems with innocence, is that when these teenagers tried to report the police officer, because this was a police officer and he was an adult, they weren't believing them. And this is something that you get in everyday society, is that when children actually report crimes committed by adults, no one really believes them, because they think, okay, well, they're young, they're just being rebellious. So there is that line of trust there that is non-present as far as innocence is concerned. And so this is showing you all the things that are thrown at innocence, and these teenagers who are trying to make a run for it are actually going for a better life, but the horrors of the adult world are closely following behind them. So there's a strong level of threat based on the performances from all involved, and so it's not melodramatic, and that's the reason why I really like these characters, because it's grounded in realism. It doesn't show you overly romantic scenes. I think there was only one sort of peck between the two of them. There wasn't even a proper kiss, and so it's not trying to hit you over the head that, yes, look at these teenagers, they're in love. You could tell they were in love based on the performances that these actors were giving. You could feel the awkwardness between the two of them, and I thought, okay, well, I'm not watching a movie that's depicting teenagers from adult actors. You've got Twilight, where they just acted a lot older than they really were, but in this movie they act exactly as you would expect them to act. They didn't know what they were doing exactly, it was ignorant, but the power of love between the two of them was causing that awkwardness, but it was causing that chemistry there that really seeps through the screen, and it gives you that relatability, it gives you that sympathy for what's going on. They deserve a better life, but their life has been, they've been brought back, and when the thrill of the chase gets going, that suspense is there because you want these two to break free of the barriers that they're confined to. So the movie does work well in that regard, and as I said, without the great performances from Bill Paxton and the two teenagers involved, it really wouldn't have worked. So the attention to detail was there, and I thought the director executed that very well. It's complemented by an absolutely fantastic sense of cinematography. The movie has a very desolate and desperate landscape. Everyone involved, it felt as though they didn't really have a future, and so these teenagers are trying to get to that future. The future is not far away, but it feels a lot further away because of what's going on with them. And so the level of innocence to the film really does carry it, and as I said, the darkness that's ever close behind them, it's threatening that level of suspense. It's threatening that things are going to be really bad if they get caught. So I thought that was all very good. It's got a very good soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack played a strong role in actually giving you that sense of tragedy, giving you that sense of dread, and the whole film just had a very bleak quality. So it is a very memorable film based on the acting performances, but if I had a problem with the film is that I thought there were some of the provocative themes that the film had. It was trying to get out there, but I thought it was a little bit scared to actually really fully explode. And so although the movie is memorable, I thought it could have been a lot more memorable if it was a little bit harder. The violence is pretty much off screen, and I thought, okay, well, the violence off screen kind of indicated the level of restraint that the film had. And so yes, on one hand it is absolutely fantastic because of the performances, but on the other hand I thought it could have been fantastic in the story if it was just a little bit harder. And I know that sometimes leaving it to the imagination can be a lot more disturbing, but in this regard I thought, okay, there is constraints there. It felt like a straitjacket that the director was trying to get out of but really couldn't. And so the movie does hit you with that quality that, okay, it was memorable, but after a few weeks maybe you'll forget about it. But because it's Bill Paxton's last performance, I would highly recommend this film. It is very good, but unfortunately I thought that I couldn't help but feel that it should have been a lot better than it actually was. So it's thrilling, it's got great performances, especially from Bill Paxton. If this sounds like your kind of thing, I'm definitely recommending it, and I give Mean Dreams 3.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.